Well, good evening, everyone. I'm Mayor Rich Hill from the Village of Round Lake Beach. We're here tonight for another Fireside Chat at our Cultural Center in Round Lake Beach. Tonight, our guest is Erin Erin Cartwright Weinstein. She's the Lake County Circuit Clerk. Welcome.
Thank you.
A little about Erin. She's originally from Brighton, Michigan. Resided in Illinois since May of 2000. She's a graduate of St. Mary's of Notre Dame in 1995. And Thomas M. Cooley Law School in September 1999. They've changed their name to Western Michigan University, huh?
Yes.
Interesting. Erin worked as an assistant state's attorney from June of 2000 to July of 2004. Was it Chasau Schaefer?
Yes, Chasau Schaefer.
PC from 2005 to 2008. As a sole practitioner from 2008 to 2016, November 30th, 2016. Erin handled family law, criminal defense, adoption, guardianship of adults and minors in probate court, guardian ad litem for minors in probate matters, and the plaintiff and respondent sides of orders of protection. Erin ran for the position of Lake County Circuit Clerk in the 2016 election and won. As Circuit Court Clerk, Erin is the record keeper for the courts and maintains all court evidence. Erin also remains an active member of the Association of Women Attorneys of Lake County, Lake County Bar Association, Illinois State Bar Association, Lake County Chamber of Commerce, and Gurney Chamber of Commerce. Erin is currently the co-chair of Lake County Cares, executive board member for their Coalition to Reduce Recidivism, a member of the National Association of Court Managers, Women Interested in Government, NAACP, Latino Coalition of Lake County, Task Force for Underage Drinking, and Northeastern Illinois Circuit Court Clerks. Outside of the office, Erin's passions are horseback riding. She competes as a dressage rider. You have to tell us what that is later. I have no idea what that is. And work with animal rescues. She and her husband, David Weinstein, work with Tales of Hope Rescue from Highland Park, Illinois, and Almost Home Dog Rescue of Ohio. Yes. Welcome, Erin.
Oh, thank you.
Tonight we have one of our deputy chiefs, Wayne Wildies, will be helping with the questions. At the end here, we'll have some time for some questions from the audience. So please, if you have any thoughts, jot them down. So when we get to the end of the program here, we can ask them and find out some more things. I'll turn it over to Wayne.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. What is the clerk of the circuit court?
So the clerk of the circuit court is the record keeper for the judicial system. So we work with the judges basically hand in hand every single day. We're the person sitting next to the judge that provides all of the files to him. We maintain those on a daily basis. We keep them electronically as well as physically in our office. We handle all of the evidence from all of the cases, whether they're criminal cases or civil cases. And that's the main duties. We have 137 employees that we could have. We technically right now have 128 on staff. And those employees are either in the courtroom or they're working in our office helping people specifically with their, dealing with court files or helping them through the system, or they're, doing the background, keeping everything organized.
How does your office differ from that of the Lake County Clerk?
So we are a branch of the judicial system. So we're the non-judicial branch on the court side of it. The Lake County Clerk handles election results, handles marriage licenses. So we're completely different. So if you need help from her, you're looking for marriage license, tax redemptions. You're looking at, working with her on, reviewing election results.
What are the qualifications to become the circuit clerk?
There really aren't qualifications. It's an election-related position. So you do not have to be an attorney. I happen to be an attorney, but there are a lot of clerks in the state of Illinois that are not. So I think it's getting in there and winning that election and having the skills to do it.
What inspired you to want to run for your position?
Well, I've worked with the people in the clerk's office my entire career, and I've been here since June of 2004 from the state's attorney's office. June of 2000 to July of 2004 I was in the state's attorney's office, and then being a Lake County attorney since then, I was very close to a lot of the people who were there. When the position became open, the Democratic Party asked me if I'd be interested in running. I did some investigation on what was going on in the office and decided that there was a lot of change that needed to happen. And as attorneys, we were frustrated with the lack of technology, But I came to find out that there was more than just the lack of technology that were issues in the office at that time. And so I ran because I wanted to make that a better office for the public and for the attorneys.
What do you feel is the core mission of the Circuit Clerk's office?
Our core mission is to basically take care of, make sure that we're properly handling all of the documents in Lake County for the judicial system. I mean, every single person who has something going on in the judicial system, what's happening is important. It's important for the rest of your life. So everything needs to be maintained. It needs to be maintained properly. I mean, if we, including not just the documents, but the evidence. I mean, if there's evidence that comes in on a criminal trial, some of that evidence could be retested, looked at again over the course of the next 20, 30, 40 years, and we have to maintain a chain of custody. We have to take care of it. I mean, so it's very important to make sure that people's legal needs are met.
That's one thing that I was very surprised to see, is that you actually maintain the evidence.
We do.
Instead of our police department has their own evidence lockup in the police station. Is it right in the facility there at Lake County then? You have a storage area?
We do. Right now we have one in Waukegan at the courthouse, but while they've been doing all of these renovations and building new buildings in Lake County, they ended up with another building over by the Sheriff's Department in Libertyville that was supposed to be used for Westchester House, and since they weren't following up with the Westchester House, they said, hey, we have this building, and it's much better building, so that we're actually able to have really nice shelvings and better temperature control. So we're excited to have a new building.
Easier to catalog things and find things when you need them, and it's great.
Exactly. So, but yeah, once the evidence is is admitted by the court, it comes out of the police department's hands and goes into the court's hands, and then we're maintaining that for the court.
Interesting.
And every circuit clerk's office is different. Some of the circuit clerk's offices don't maintain it. They send it either back to the state's attorney's office or the public defender's office or back to the police departments. But our court does not want to do that, and I actually agree with them. I think that our courts are doing it the right way.
I would think so too, yes.
In your role as clerk of the circuit court, how does your office interact with the chief judge of the 19th Circuit? And does your department or office interact with other departments within the county?
We do all the time. So there's a huge breakdown, but Chief Judge Ortiz, who's our current chief judge through the end of the year, he and I probably talk daily. So we have so much, all of our work is together, basically. I mean, if we want to make changes or do adjustments, I have to go to him, we talk about it, we figure out how he wants to do it. So we're constantly in contact about how things need to run. As far as other departments, we do have to function with all of the other departments. So whether you're talking budget and you're working with the financial department, you're working with human resources to help employees deal with issues. If you're, I could be working with the recorder of deeds because we're having trouble locating someone, or, so we're constantly, working together and talking together. We do have, we do things in different groups. Like we have what's called the J team, the justice team, and that's all the justice partners. And we get together once a month to talk about issues. So that's the state's attorneys, the public defender, the sheriff, the chief judge, and myself. And we all get together and we talk about what's happening in the judicial system and what things we can do to help each other out and make things work better.
How does the circuit clerk's office engage in collaboration with other government agencies, nonprofit and/or profit organizations to provide services to the public?
So one of the things that we're currently doing is we're working with the Coalition to Reduce Recidivism on June 24th to do an expungement workshop. So we're sending our clerks over there to help out, be able to look up Lake County records on our site so that we can help people determine what type of criminal history they have, whether or not something's expungible or not. So we're working with them on their shop, in that workshop. Then we have an amnesty program coming up, and we're working in collaboration with Mike Nierheim from the State's Attorney's Office, and we're going to be taking off all of our collection agency fees and interest on all outstanding tickets so that people who are having trouble affording, being able to afford to pay off old tickets, and now they've accumulated all these other fees, we're going to cut that and reduce it down so that they can pay those tickets off. And we'll be doing that for a week on July 17th through the 21st. So, we do work with other different organizations and what we can do to help, whether it's a Safe Place comes down and needs assistance with how things are filed, or how we're gonna, how e-filing is gonna affect orders of protection and those kinds of things. We're always working with other agencies.
Now, this event that's coming up with Mike Nurheim, is that just for Lake County written tickets, or is that for anything throughout any village in the community?
It is Lake County written tickets.
Okay.
So part of this, they've done a few amnesties in the past, but recently we lost Audrey Nixon, one of our Lake County board members, and one of her big missions was she wanted to cut fees and to help people get their driver's licenses back. So she's been working with the Lake County Bar Foundation with Donald Morrison. She's been working with the chief judges. She's with our office. And we've been trying to find a way to help her with that program. And a lot of the fees that we have are statutory based and we can't adjust them. So we've been trying to find some way around that to try and do what we could to help people so that they could try and get their licenses back and get back out on the road. And this is one way we can do it. And so in her honor, we've decided to put this amnesty program together and to work.
Yeah, how true. It seems like sometimes you get in a spiral down where you get the ticket, you can't pay it right away, then you get a fee on top of that, and it makes it even harder to pay another fee, and you just keep on going downward, and you can't get your head back up ever. So that's great.
Yeah, that's one of the things we want to try and help people do, so that they can actually get their licenses back, be able to drive to work.
Get to work.
It's important.
Yes.
Does your office provide any training to other local government employees who interact with the circuit clerk?
We provide training as far as, maybe our technology. So as we're in the process right now, we're going to be starting to allow people to file all their documents electronically. And those electronic documents there's going to be a process involved in people learning how to set themselves up, how to upload the documents, how the system's going to work. So we're providing training we're going to be providing trainings to attorneys. We're going to probably be doing a webinar at some point as soon as we're advanced enough to be able to do that. We're going to be, allowing people to come in and, show them how to do it. So we're trying to do those types of things. As far as, I don't know that it'd be so much as training as it would be, assistance with how to do something. Like, how do I file this document? Where do I go? That's more probably the assistance that we provide.
Earlier, you touched on some of the services that you provide to the citizens of Lake County. Were there any other services that you did not mention to include some of the services on your website and the public access that we have displayed?
Sure. So we have two things. We have this public access website. This is so the public access website, this will allow people to look up any cases that are in Lake County under a specific name. So you can check a business and you can check a name. This is a great tool. It gives you, if you're looking to figure out if someone got a ticket or they were arrested, you can tell which arresting agency had, charged the case originally. You can see, the person, the next court date. You can see whether things have been filed, if there were orders entered in a case. All of that information will be on there. We're still in the process of upgrading technology, and once we get past this e-filing and the electronic filing of documents, we're going to be working towards upgrading our case management system, because our case management system is ancient. And right now, if you look, you can't see what type of motion was filed, and that should, with the new case management system, be upgraded so that you will be able to see actually. So if someone filed a specific motion, like the motion to modify child support, they would actually be able to see what it was for. So that'll be nice.
What's the minimum amount of information you need to look somebody up? Is it like a name and date of birth?
You don't even need date of birth. If you do a name, if it's a common name, you're going to get a lot.
Like Rich Hill?
Yeah.
So it's not me when you see it up there.
So you can go just by person. Oh, and I'm sorry, you asked me passports. That's the other thing we do. It's another service.
So we could do a passport through the clerk's office as well?
Yes, we do provide a passport service, and we go mobile. So once a month, usually we're out on a Saturday somewhere, whether it's West Deerfield or Vernon Hills Township Library. We've been around, so we'll do those types of things. But otherwise, from 8:30 to 3:30, Monday through Friday, we are available to do passports, and we do photos as well.
That's just new passports? Or
You can renew as well.
oh, renew as well? Oh,
Yep,
good, okay.
yep.
So our local library has it where you can get new ones, but they can't renew.
Oh, yes, you can renew with us.
Good.
For that mobile passport service, the locations that you described, are they put on the website so people know in advance
They are.
monthly where the clerk's office will be
Yes.
holding those?
Yep, so there's a passport button, and I think when you click on that passport button, it should tell you. Yeah. So usually we put on there where we're gonna be when. I know there's one coming up June 24th, so hopefully that's on there. If not, I'll be fixing that tomorrow.
As part of your vision, you state that you seek to increase the efficiency in operations and modernize the circuit clerk's computer system to increase the delivery of service to the citizens. I know you've touched on some of them, but can you please describe what steps you've already taken and also describe some of the future implementations you have in mind keeping with this statement?
So the first thing that we did is we started working on the Efiling System, which is the electronic document uploads, which is required to be completed by a Supreme Court order on January 1st of 2018. So when I came into office, my predecessor had started a system, but that system was just never really fully functioning. It just was, you know, we had contracted for 7 cases, only 1 case was running. So we were really struggling with whether we keep this system or we drop this system, and we ended up deciding there's a state-sponsored system, so we ended up deciding to go with that state-sponsored system. And the state-sponsored system is actually no maintenance cost for us, and previously we had maintenance costs, and it's free to implement. And the state is managing it by charging an additional $9 per appearance fee that people pay when they file cases or file an appearance in response to a case. So we started implementing that, and we jumped on board in April. And this was something that we worked with the chief judge and some of the other circuit judges, and we jumped on board and we are rolling. So we're hoping to be in testing phase in August, and we will be rolled out and ready to go January 1st. And that is for civil case types. And the interesting thing was, after this had happened, the Supreme Court came down and said anyone who has an e-file system that is not the state-sponsored has to drop it by July 1st of 2018. So we would have been forced to go with it anyway, so we just got lucky that we jumped on right away. But I like the system. I think it's going to be a really good system. We're also working with the chief judge and the circuit judges, and we're working towards a case management system. We're trying to get that approved with the county right now so that, you know, we can get funding for it. But we have what's started out working towards the terms of what we'd be seeking from vendors in the bidding process. And so we have that completed. We need to freshen it up, but we are working towards that. So we're trying to, that will really help make things more user-friendly for people, and they'll be able to really access things much easier.
It is well known that there is a present budget impasse at the state level. Can you describe how this impact has affected your office operations and detail how you have worked to overcome this hurdle?
So the budget's huge. It's huge all the way around. So every year the county is cutting each department by approximately 2%. So we're constantly looking at how we're going to create more efficiencies within the office. We've done stuff like looking at, you know, emailing documents to people instead of using postage to mail them. We have worked, I actually had to make a list of this because I won't remember everything that we've done. So we're working towards, you know, we're we are doing more passports. We've increased our passports because that's really our only true sense of revenue in our office. We take in all the financials, so if there's a criminal case or a civil case and people are paying on that, we take the revenue in, but that revenue all gets dispersed out to various other departments and for various other fees. So we don't actually take all of that in. We're really not a moneymaker, so our only moneymaker really is passports. So we're trying to increase that revenue, but it's constant. It's looking at how can we, do less printing? How can we share resources with other departments? So that's a significant part of it. I think one of the downturns for my office right now is because we haven't been able to get a new case management system at this point, that it's more manual intensive for my clerks. Once we have a case management system, I probably won't need as much staff at that point because the system will be doing a lot of the scheduling and the work on its own, and I won't need a clerk to be able to do that. I certainly don't want to lose any of my clerks. I adore each and every one of them, but that would probably be a significant change.
Does your department actually receive any state funding directly, or does everything go through the county?
We do not. It all goes
Okay.
through the county.
Okay.
It does. So, and then then we're actually in budget season now. So that's actually then they review and approve the budgets.
Mm-hmm.
How has state mandates impacted the circuit clerk's office, and how is your office responding to those types of mandates?
So the Supreme Court goes through like ebbs and flows, and we'll get a lot of mandate changes, and then we don't get many. I've been really lucky to get a lot since I've come in. So one of the changes that we've had is they have started a juvenile detention hearings that have to be held within 40 hours. So we did not used to do this. We used to be just doing these detention hearings Monday through Fridays. Now we are doing them on Saturdays as well. I think it's Saturday, or is it Saturday or Sunday? I'm totally blanking right now. Sorry, it might be Sunday. So we have to have a juvenile clerk available on Sundays. They're on call. We don't always have a juvenile detention hearing, but if we do have one, we have to hold it on that date. The legislation so far that's coming down is there's a House bill that the detention hearings have to be held every 24 hours. So if that does go through, which it looks like it's going to go through, we will have someone on call every single day that we do not have a court going. So that includes holidays, unfortunately, for the clerks and the judges and the attorneys. But that is one thing that's happening. So we worked with the judges and we worked with the sheriff's department, and we're, how are we going to strategically do this? We set up times, and then we, work towards, payment through the finance department and worked all of that out. We've also had I had to write some of this down. There's so much going on. I'm sorry. So we've had the technology updates that we've had to change, and then we've also had, there's been some changes in the law and the expungements, and so we now have new forms that have come down from the Supreme Court that we're trying to work with. We're trying to create new forms because we found those too confusing to work with, so it's a kind of a constant process. So we try and keep all of those forms up online so that people have access to them and can use them as they need them.
Besides budgetary issues, what do you believe are the largest issues facing the department right now?
So I guess mostly, I have to say it's either budgetary or it's technology. Those are the two big things that are happening in my office right now. It's trying to conserve resources. It's trying to, we've been going through all of our books and trying to, make sure all of our finances are above board and how things are being paid. We've had some cleaning up to do over time, so we're working with our finance department in the county to do that. But mostly it's budgetary and technology. We're constantly working on, improving the efficiencies.
And technology, I think, one area that all of government has been working towards. The state of Illinois seems like they're way behind in it also. They keep on talking about these computer systems. They have like 30 different systems. They try to talk to each other. They can't talk to each other properly, and they wonder why they're just so dysfunctional.
Right. It's when I came into the office, we have a system, we call it CRIMS. It's a data exchange, and then we also have We had the e-filing system that was started by my predecessor. Then we also had a separate system that was for child support. And so we're trying to combine all these systems into one, because right now you're constantly separate. You know, you're working on one system or the other system, and it really needs to all be one package and not be so complicated, because our clerks are plugging in. If there's a child support issue, we have 3 different systems we're plugging into, and it's just not efficient.
Yeah, we've done the same thing, dealing with like our economic development department as far as the housing in the area, and whether it's a rental house or whatever, all tied in with the water billing. And so everything's all in one big file instead of getting a piece over here and a piece over there, and left hand doesn't know what the right hand's doing, and then you find out later, it's like, oops, I wish we would have known that.
Right, and we can't, there's a lot of things that, like the county board wants to know now. The county board wants statistics on things, tell us what the population is in the jail, tell us how many people are released on bond. They want a lot of that information, and unfortunately our system's so old that we can't do all of it. We had someone contact us and wanted to know how many DUIs were with each municipal prosecutor in each municipality, and we can't cut it down like that. But I'm hoping in the near future we'll be able to do that, because I think it's really going to be a huge resource for us to have more information on what's happening in our community. And we're really where it comes from.
Yeah, it helps identify issues and where they're happening. So it's like a mapping program for crimes.
Right.
The crimes are happening mostly in this area. Well, let's resend the police then. If you don't know where they're happening, it's kind of hard to target it.
Right. And we've had so many changes in the community all the time. Right now we have an increase in violent crime and a reduction in DUIs and traffic violations. So there's all these changes going on, and we want to be able to keep track of all of those changes. Yep. So that we can help, because otherwise it's hard for the county board to make decisions about where money needs to go or what changes we need to make when we can't always produce all that data.
Yeah. One of the main pillars of the concept of procedural justice is transparency. Based on the fact that your office provides the general public with access to the judicial system, do you agree that you have a very significant role in the implementation of procedural justice, and how do you educate your staff on that concept?
So I think transparency is incredibly important, and there's so many things that happen intertwined that it's not always easy to see the transparency. The great thing is that Lake County does keep their budget online. You can see what different funds we have, where money comes and goes from, how things are budgeted. So that's really nice. But as far as what's happening now, we're doing press releases. Every time we make a change in e-filing or a change in the technology, we're doing a press release. We're sending things out through the Lake County Bar Association so that the attorneys have knowledge of any changes that we have in the office. And those changes, as far as our staff, it's a constant. This is what's going on, here's the information, do you have any questions, how do we do it? Important things like all of the juvenile matters, always sealed, always impounded. So, and that'll change, that became stricter last year, where there's data that cannot be seen at all by the public unless you're the attorney of record or the child. So things do change, and they do get strengthened. And the chief judge just sent down an administrative order reducing the amount of data that we can provide people without a request going out, because they want to make sure that they can monitor what type of data is coming out, which is important. So those are the kinds of things that change, and we have to just keep everybody up to date.
There's been a lot about hacking lately in the news. Any issues with any hacking of those kind of sites?
We have not. We have not, luckily.
Oh, that's good. I'm kind of surprised.
Yeah. Thank goodness.
Yes.
I don't want to deal with that next.
Yeah.
No, we have a great IT department.
That's good to hear.
What educational opportunities does the Circuit Clerk's office provide to students with an interest in entering the judicial court system?
Well, we have had a couple of groups out this year. We had a keyboarding class a couple weeks ago. We've had some students that have come out, and we give them a tour of the office. We talk to them about what we do. We take them up to a courtroom, and they can usually sit through, some criminal, maybe criminal pleas or something to that effect, or watch part of a trial. So, we're very open to doing that. When schools contact us, we always schedule it and set it up. And I've gone out to a few schools and talked to them about what we do in our office, and tried to answer questions for them. So that's the main part. We also have internships in the summer, so people can come in and work for us. We've done anywhere from a CLC program where the student needed 24 hours of time and spent a week with us to, we have students throughout the summer. So
Nice.
Yeah.
It's a great opportunity for the kids to learn a little bit about it, and it's a great opportunity for you to share with what you do. And even here tonight, I'm sure most of us here knew a little bit about what you do, but learn a lot more.
Yeah.
Well, I'm not going to be an intern, so.
Hey, come by though. We'll still take you around.
Do you belong to any organizations or associations that provide updates on industry standards, laws, or best practices?
Well, our biggest information from our industry comes from the Association of Illinois Courts. They're constantly sending me down information. They have a website. We can keep track of what House bills are up, where the House bill is. So we use that as a huge resource. But we also have the Northeast Clerks Association, which I'm a member of, and we're we'll meet quarterly to go over what's going on and how they're making changes and what we can all do differently. And then we also have the National Association of Court Managers. So all of those work with us. And the National Center for State Courts, they're always looking into different things. Right now they're looking into continuing education for clerks and what other states are doing versus, what is this going to become a national issue or state issue? So there are quite a few.
Now, those organizations, do they come up with their own ideas that they push down to the Supreme Court and say, hey, this is something we'd like to see as a change?
Usually, I want to say it's mostly been discussed, and it usually goes through the association, or I say that wrong, AOIC. So the
All the acronyms will get you every time.
I know. It always goes through the AOIC.
But they discuss mostly what the Supreme Court tells them rather than.
Right, and
they work
on some of the legislation, and some of the clerks get involved in the legislation. There's quite a bit.
Well, that's good. The people with the hands-on are the ones that probably know the most about it. It's easy to sit up over here and say, oh, let's do it this way. Mm-hmm. And it doesn't work that way in reality.
Yeah.
Does your prior service as an attorney complement your current role? Does it provide greater insight or advantages?
I think it's been really helpful. I mean, I already knew how our system basically worked. I knew most of the clerks. I got in there, and I think I've already had the experience of reading a lot of the statutes, understanding what the fees and the fines mean. I mean, there was so much I came in knowing that I give the credit to the people who have not practiced law and go into this field, because I use that knowledge every day. So it's made it a lot easier. And when you're used to reading statutes and understanding them, it's simpler than trying to pick it up. So.
And being a user of the system, you know how it worked right, but didn't really work as a user at the other end. So
right, and I have
good insight.
And I have a lot of ideas going into this new case management system of things I want to implement in that system that are important to me. So that I know that were needed by my clients in the past, or the state's attorney's office, or as a private attorney.
Right. One question we ask all the elected officials who have participated in our Fireside Chat is that with all the national and state political discourse and dysfunctionality, why would someone, especially young people, want to get involved in politics or run for public office? What would you say to someone to encourage them or discourage them from running for public office?
I think the discouraging part is that you have to want to do it. I mean, the campaigning is difficult. You're gone all the time. It's a lot of rubber chicken dinners. It's, meeting. And the part I loved the best was meeting people. I love meeting people and talking with people and their ideas. But I mean, your third parade of the day, your feet are killing you. I think it's a lot of work, and that's the biggest part of it. But I had a real passion for doing this type of work. I mean, this is something that really interested me. I really enjoy working with the judges. I really enjoy working with the county, all the county employees. I really enjoy my staff. I just love my job. So it was something I really wanted to do. And so I think if it's a position that would be of a passion to you, I say go for it.
And I'm sure we're doing 28,000 residents in Raleigh Beach. It's about the same as doing the whole county. What, 750,000 people? It's got to be close, right?
Yeah.
Knocking on doors, saying hi.
Yeah, a few door knocks, yeah.
And I agree with you, though. You have to have compassion and be passionate about the job and really want to do it. Because it's easy to say, I want to do that. And if you only have one little issue and you got all this other stuff you need to work on, that's not going to work very well. You have to really care about the communities or the county or the system itself,
right,
and want to make improvements. And I've been very lucky in Raleigh Beach. My trustees and my clerk have all been very passionate about what they're doing, and we've been able to accomplish a lot, which I'm sure the same would happen in your office. If you guys are all working together like that,
yeah,
get a lot done.
Yeah, I really do. I have great staff. Yeah. I really, you go to work every day, and it's a great place to be, and
yes,
that means everything. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I guess that was actually our last question. I did have a question on your website. When you're looking for people in there, is that only crimes that were actually committed in Lake County that you can see on this website?
Correct.
Now, so I take the state mandate says that every county in the state then has got to develop the same type of system online, or just is that the e-filing only?
Right. So right now they've only come down with e-filing only.
Okay.
So we are required to have all the civil case types up. So that's going to be your, probate, family law,
okay,
foreclosures, and any civil type of case. The Supreme Court did come down recently saying all the rest of them can be e-filed, but they're not requiring it yet. Oh. When we started working with the new e-filing company, they were not prepared at that time to do criminal or tickets, but we're waiting for that. So hopefully they'll be able to do that soon. Mm-hmm. We're also I think it's going to make a huge change when we finally do get a case management system. Life's going to be so much better, but that's the only statutory requirement right now, Supreme Court order right now. So.
I know we recently invested in a record management system for our police department. It should be nice if that could dovetail right into the records. They type information there and shoot right to you
You're
guys.
You're talking about ETicket?
Yeah.
Yep, and that's actually the piece of our case management system. So as soon as we can get the, the county on board with, going forward with that, we will, we will be able to make part of it the e-tickets. So that is something we're looking forward to. Trust me, my clerks would really appreciate it.
You look at the manpower and the mistakes that can happen when you have to transfer the information. Yeah, that's invaluable. So.
Well, and it'll be nice to be able to view the ticket. I mean, you'll be able to see it. It'll be all that information will be right there. It'll be great.
Good point.
Yeah, and it'll be helpful in court too. Mm-hmm. Right now there's such limited data that you can actually pull up.
Well, they have all those jackets they have to open up and go through everything. Yeah.
Yep, and they're allowing us at some point to be able to destroy those, but we have to be careful with that. We don't want to just destroy something and then need it later. Mm-hmm. We have right now we're still completely paper. So we're in the process of working with a company to start scanning and backing everything up, and because that is not something that has been done in the past. So that's what keeps me up at night is all the documents just being paper. Next thing you know, there'll be a flood and, we'll be in big trouble. So that's something that we're in the process of working on right now is getting all of that backed up, and hopefully we'll be a lot less paper in the future. But right now we are all paper, so we hold on to all of that stuff. We have all the paper for 7 years, and then we are still Supreme Court mandated to put it on microfiche, but when we get those documents backed up into a PDF, we're also going to be able to microfiche them at the same time, which will be really nice.
Very good. Now you guys must have some pretty big servers or storage devices in order to store all that you're going to be scanning in. We
will. Right now we do have a document. We do have document storage, but that will substantially increase with the e-filing.
And we've looked at the police cameras, body cameras, quite a while now, and we're still not sure on the technology if it's really ready yet. And one of the big issues is storage. All that video you had to store for so long, and in different cases, and being able to black out different parts. So that's another piece of technology that, while it has its merits, it has a lot of drawbacks still. So, but it'd be nice when we get to that point. So.
Yeah, definitely.
Well, just a quick note, next month on Thursday, July 13th, I'll have another Fireside chat with State Representative Sam Yingling, so please put that in your calendars, come on back. At this point, and anyone in the audience have any questions? We have the microphone here we can pass around.
Yeah, just a question. With the recorder of deeds, the county clerk, and then your office, do you see any overlap where you're sitting there and somebody asks for a file, or you say, well, why is it over at the clerk? It should be with us.
No, not from us. Because we are the judicial side, so we're the court side, and the recorder of deeds and the county clerk are on the county side. So we really completely separate functions. Yeah, we really don't overlap other than when, if it's a marriage license, they have to come down to us to be sent over to a judge. We have to schedule that part, but otherwise really no overlap.
The other question I had for you, we talked a little bit about expungements. What is that?
Oh, I'm sorry. That's a good question. So an expungement is if you have had an arrest or any criminal cases in your past, they might be eligible to be removed off your record. So the state statute has very specific criteria that you have to meet, and if you meet that criteria, then you can file requesting that the judge completely expunge it from your record. That would wipe it off of our system. The Illinois State Police will wipe it out of their system, and the police department that did the original arrest and requested the charges will also wipe it out. So you can request that it be completely gone. They did open that up some more this year. It's gotten a little bit more liberal than it was. So that's part of why the workshops, and we have a lot going on because there's so many changes, but you can expunge a bit more than you could before. There's also sealing. So there's some cases that would be eligible to be sealed, which means that you can't publicly see it, but it still exists. So that's the difference between the two, but those are the two options. So some people who may have a certain, drug crime or something to that effect may be eligible for sealing that isn't eligible for expungement.
Now, if people want to do that, I feel like I'm asking about myself. I'm not. But, if people want to do something like that, do they need to hire an attorney to do that? Do they just go online, fill out a form?
They can fill it out on their own, or they can hire an attorney. I mean, we always, someone may want to use an attorney, but that's completely up to them. The judge does take a look at it. So the AOIC came down and provided us new forms for expungements, and we're having trouble with those forms from the notice perspective. And so if the notice isn't correct, the judge could deny it. So you always want to make sure that what you're doing is correct so that you don't waste your time, and file it, and then it's denied, and then you have to do it again. So, but usually, because we can't give legal advice in our office, so we'll accept it and, send it up and then let you know what happens.
So you can't even look at it and say, this needs to be filled in, that needs to be filled in. Can you do stuff like that, or you just have to take it?
We could point out, this isn't filled in, but we can't go in and really correct it.
Mm-hmm. Or say here you need to write that you were a good boy the last 10 years, or let's see on his list.
I might be able to say a box isn't checked. We want to check that box.
Other questions? Well, thank you all for being here tonight. Thank you, Erin. Appreciate you being here tonight.
No, thank you for having me.
Good time. I always pass along a village pin to all of our guests here. If I can get it in my pocket. Hope you wear it with pride. And
awesome. Love
again,
to.
July 13th, we have State Rep Sam Milligan coming out. Come on back and join us then. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.